I had to get my headphones so you can see what's going on here. It looks like that this freighter picked up colonists from this planet, which eventually I want to have that happen and for interracial trade, but I don't think this is intentional, so that looks like a bug. A little bit of funkiness going on with these transports here. Why are they stopping here? Can't be a very tight turn. This here. Come around. These medium Alwark freighters are kind of broken. This guy. And this movement here. Crashed. That's a breakpoint. Never mind. Yeah. Something funky going on here. With the freighters. They're picking up colonists from freshly invaded worlds that don't belong to them. That once did. I need to change the way that these subspace projectors are built. But currently what it does is it figures out the road and then it gives a build order for each one of the projectors that are in the road. And the problem with that is that it stuffs the AI build with all these constructor ships, which is it blocks the AI from doing anything else. So what should happen is that it builds the road, and then it tries to maintain the road, then has some set amount or some calculated amount of projectors that it builds, depending on how many are in the build queue already, like 3 to shot or something like that, instead of just swamping the build queue with a bunch of constructor ships. And the space roads are great, of course, but not at the cost of all other production. The reason that it's doing this bit where it's grabbing the fleets and dumping them again, because it shouldn't be doing this. It's got a planet here that it wants to assemble at, and that planet has enemy ships in it, and so the troop ships that come in here immediately disband the fleet. I think that's because I made it not completely limit that ability for them to do that. Like, in the AI space is broken up into these AOs, these area of operations. And this one down here is probably in its own area of operation. And it only has a couple of planets in here, and I think, and maybe only one with a shipyard. And so rather than restrict it to only being, when it's trying to build, when it gets an offensive task order, it pulls from all over the place, but it tries to bring the ships to here, and probably it shouldn't do that. Probably should pick the nearest AO that has a shipyard that doesn't have any enemy activity into it. But I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to get it into a bind where it could not build any ships because all of its planets were in, or couldn't build any fleets together because all of its planets were in trouble. but could probably make it so it doesn't try to assemble the fleet in the first place if the planet it's going to is blocked by enemy ships, and that would prevent it from doing the toggle on and off of the creation and destruction of the fleet. But it would run into the same problem where it wouldn't be able to assemble a fleet. I'm not sure. Maybe should put together a different. There is a defensive fleet option in there, and so probably what it should do in a situation like this is rather than try to build an invasion fleet to come to this place, it should build a defensive fleet to come and secure the space, and then bring in an invasion fleet or something along those lines. Anyway, that little process doesn't work. Where the fleets are trying to assemble. The movement path looks pretty good. I mean, it still does some kind of funky things. I changed the way these roads are built some time ago so that it would build from and to most developed worlds. That's why it's gets the spokes coming off of the homeworld like this. Previously, it didn't do this, so it would just take the shortest route between things. So it would make a road here, and maybe a road here, or something along those lines, which is a little more interesting in the look. But these roads are kind of useless. Right? I mean, it's good to have, but this is a better road, right? Because this is where it's getting all its resources from. But this would make it that construction would probably make it build a road here as well, which I'm not sure is the best way to do it because that's a lot of extra projectors. But it's definitely a faster route than coming up here and then going over here. I suppose at some point it should build a road around its border space to kind of to create a border here, so it kind of a clear designation of where its space was. But it's really expensive to build all those projectors. It's not just expensive because each one of these projectors costs maintenance. It's expensive because each one of those is a ship, and once it hits about 2,000 ships, it's going to crash the game most likely. Might be a better way to do these projectors. Some kind of simplified ship. It takes up less resources. Wow, Olfen are really doing well over here. Industrialist. These changes to the type of economic strategy these guys use does make a difference in how they function. Let's take a look at this for the transport issue. It's doing this troop. Oh, look at that move right here. That's not good. It's making a 90-degree angle. I think this calculation should be more along the lines to keep it within these space lanes. So it should be looking for the next projector that's within this radius. Well, that's going to be kind of difficult because that's why that was doing that recursive thing, right? So it would check this one, check that one, check this one. But like in this one, this pathing would be pretty hard to do because this is farther away from its destination, and that's going, it would have to like check all these things. So I'm thinking that like the road itself might be a better way to do it, right? Because this road to this road, this road to this planet brings it to this road, and then it would just follow the projectors within those things. And then when it's looking for planets that aren't in its space lanes, it would choose the space lane that gets it closest, right? So instead of checking each projector all the time, it's just checking the roads. Because all of these things are roads, right? It keeps track of all of these projectors in this road object, and the road object has a has an endpoint planet on each end of it. So it should be able to say, I'm in this road, I want to get to this planet, check all the interconnecting roads, and go there. Now, this one may not have a space road for this one, and so in that case it would have to like check to see what planets are within the space road, and that's something they could do in like a space road update, where it would check the space road, look for planets within its space road, and add those to the space road, basically. And I think that would be a lot better on the CPU usage, because this calculation of all of these things, at least the way it was very expensive. I think Squeezer had a video of it where you select a whole bunch of ships and tell them to go someplace, and it would calculate each one of those ships, right? They were all in all in a solar system, and would calculate each one of those ships, and going through that recursive loop through all the projectors for each one, and it caused a noticeable lag with 50, 60 ships, maybe less, but something around there. And otherwise, it looks like it's working pretty good. I mean, this these things, this sort of acute angle here definitely causes it some issues. And some of those times where you could see it stop like this, right? It comes up here, stops, and continues. Should try to make, maybe we should try to make an alternative with the space road connector and see how that works. This math is really funky though. I rebuilt these projectors at one point with the modified version of that recursive loop that it was doing. That hurt my head a lot. checking on the economy. This economy works so much better than it did. The empires almost never go to negative money. Almost never. Occasionally they can when they're in really bad straits, but they do hit this 100% tech costs or tax rate from time to time, and that's a problem. But in these cases, like, it's got 11,000 creds, so it's okay. Well, it doesn't anymore. Yeah, it's not 11,000, it's 1,000? Yeah. And it does this bouncing back and forth, which I really want to fix, but I'd like to stabilize that more, but I'm not an economist. Nor very good at math. Titans. Battleships. I really want to get to this point where I can play this game again, because I can't play it. You know, when I'm playing it, I just want to. I see something that's broken and I want to stop and try to work on it. But I'm sure this is way more challenged than it was back when I was playing it, and I thought it was pretty hard when I first started playing this game. But I think it would be much more challenging now, specifically because one of the main reasons there is because these planets aren't so undefended. Of course, the one I picked was, but I mean, they've got troops on these planets, and a fairly substantial number on some of them. That's a nice bank there. It would be nice if it... Whoa, do you see that one? It comes around here, and it chooses this next one over here, but it can't make the turn. But sometimes it can. Very strange. But it's just too tight of a turn. It should, like, say, okay, I'm coming up to this one, but that turns... it should like check this one and check this one and make a turn that puts it in between the two, more or less, you know, to calculate the first one and the next, the one it's going to, and the next one in the line. And I know it does that in the movement code, but it's not doing it well here because it's going all the way to this projector and then turning, and it should go. Don't choose that one. Don't choose this one. Keep turning to the next one. So this should just be math, right? I mean, it knows how tight it can turn. It knows where this projector is. It should be able to tell that this is too tight of a turn for it to get to, and disregard this one and start turning. But I'm so afraid of messing with that movement code that it makes it hard to jump in there and change that stuff. Now, these large L-lock freighters, I know that I've fixed these things. I know I have, and they're still not warp stable. What happened? So this is the kind of thing that makes me stop. Makes me stop playing and you know, say, oh, okay, I gotta fix that. Whatever change I made to these L-lock freighters must have somehow got out. I don't know what happened. Oh, Pops got killed. I wonder if my my code kicked in to clear out those ships. I would think yes, but it's hard to tell. I didn't even see that. The Wolfen must have wiped them. Yep. I got polymer over here. Can't tell. We're running about. That's pretty good. We're still running about 5 to 8 times. Should throw it on. That's pretty good. I would like to know how much CPU time that your code for the movement stuff has saved it, and the freighter thing. You see this going on here? There's something funky with this notification thing, and nobody has reported this, but I've seen it several times now, where the notifications get stuck. Dolphin are just owning the galaxy. Sometimes that concerns me, because sometimes what causes that is that there's a bug. I've experienced this before, where the Vulcan were just dominating the galaxy because there was a bug in carriers that allowed the fighters to launch constantly. Well, to basically be that as soon as the fighter was destroyed, it would launch another one, or it would go to rearm and launch immediately. And that caused the carriers to be very powerful. They don't even seem to have very large ships. Still, I would imagine the performance is pretty good right now. Memory usage is pretty good. I mean, I don't think this game would crash. I don't think you can get it to crash here. Not with this. It doesn't have a lot of ships in it, but even with the player in here, it might have 200 more ships or so, because the players kind of like to do that. Maybe not, but this is bad though. We gotta fix this whatever this bug is. That's a weird road. That's a crash. Nope. Yes, that's a crash. Damn it! What is this one? This is unhandled exception in get status text ship. The null reference in text string get text. Ship list info UI element. Ship list screen entry. So it must have been one of the ones I tried to select. And it didn't look like it had enough of an out of memory issue to be happening. I mean, these kind of null references are what happens generally when it's running out of RAM. But this looks like this is in the freighter code, line 293, and I can't tell what part of it is, but I'm pretty sure it's the start. The ship get AI start is null. So the planet it's trying to go to is null, or it's trying to pick up goods from is null. Oh, I see you have like a ship get AI equals null up at the top, and the AI get AI should never be null, but it's that start or end location that's null. All right, I'm gonna stop it here. I don't think that's a very good fix because that's probably why it's picking up goods from other planets. It should already be checking to see that the why is it the start? Anyway, I'm gonna stop this. Start. I'm thinking that the end might be null too, but the start, we need to figure out how it's picking up colonists from conquered worlds. It should be clearing those orders. Should be checking and clearing those orders in the AI portion, the AI loop. And it might be, and that's what's causing this. And probably this needs to check that, needs to check this, most likely. But I don't feel very good about this because this needs to actually do something useful, right? So, I mean, what brings it here is it because the start is it it shouldn't just be that it's that start is null, right? Because and maybe that's good. Maybe this, I don't know. Like, this doesn't seem like a very important piece. And start can't always be null. So this is a bad place for this, right? Because this is a generic code, I think. But this get AI should never be null. I mean, I guess it could be when the ship is being created. I guess that's possible, but it seems pretty unlikely.